The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I hope you can all hear me. Just a quick message in the console to make sure you can hear me okay. And then we'll get started straight away.
I have an affirmative.
We have
Yep.
them.
Hi. Hello.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. We got a lot to do today, and we've got a lot of people. I think there's well over 50 people registered. It's fantastic. So thank you all for coming. We've got a lot to do. I'm going to dispense with all the pleasantries that I normally go through. Suffice to say that the team's all here. You've just heard Mark. He's going to be my triage nurse. He will monitor any questions that you put in and ask them on your behalf if they're appropriate for everybody. If I can't answer them, Peter's also here with me and he will answer them. And Matt, I think, is lingering in Paris in case we have a question in French. Okay, we are going to make a start straight away, even though not everybody is here yet. That's okay. They'll catch up and they can watch the recording. Where do we start? As you saw in the email, there's quite a bit to get through. I'm going to start with order headers because we made a change to order headers in Fulfill a couple of versions ago, to be honest. But if you grab the latest Fulfill from the website, you can certainly make use of the changes in order headers. What we had often been asked for is a way on order headers to get things like the subject name on there, subject level data on there, but only once. You've always been able to do it, if you look at this order header, by putting in the repeating brackets and at item name, and then we'd use it to list the packages people ordered, including which subject they ordered it for. That works, and that's one way of getting the subject name on there, for example. But you'd get it there once per package. So you could do something like, I'll just repeat what I've got there, at item name. So the square brackets, it means it repeats that information. Okay, and I'll just pop it there and save it. And let's have a look how this works. I've got a couple of orders I can jump to very quickly. Where are my notes? Order W E W 5. Yeah, let's print this one. And we'll print just the selected order. I'll put it on a temp folder to my desktop. And I've got the order header printing there. And you want to see my desktop? Show desktop icons. Okay. So you see we've got the subject name listed with each of the packages he's ordered. This subject ordered 3 different packages. But if you wanted just his name on there, you can't really do it. You can get it, as I've just done with the other repeating bracket. But again, you're getting it once per package, and that's not what you want. You want it on there just once, perhaps, especially if you're printing order headers in Fulfill. If I go to another order, you'll see it gets, it can actually be even worse. I'll put in a different order key, Q9, QY3L. Okay. Yep, let's print this one and put in the same place. Actually, let me delete the other one so we don't get confused. Okay, and I'll print this order with an order header. So this order's got a few people in it, a few subjects. So you can see, again, we've got a list of the subject names with the package they've ordered, but we're doubling up. We're getting the subject name once per package they've ordered. How can we get the subject name and other subject level information on there only once? You've never been able to do it until relatively recently with the new fulfill, newer fulfill. So let me go back to fulfill. Let me get rid of these again. So skip that one. Oh, okay. Right. Let me go back to the template. Okay. I'll get rid of that. Underneath here, I had already done this just to cheat. I've actually already got the new way to do it, but I'd put it in white text so you wouldn't see it. And I'm going to change that to black, just so it becomes obvious so you can see them. You can now, anywhere on the order header template, and without the need for the repeating square brackets, put in at items. See the difference? At items versus at item. So for your items, give me once the shoot name. The shoot name is usually the subject name. It's the subject name if you've put in a subject key. It's the family name if you put in a family key, and so forth. But you can actually call in any subject level field, which is really neat. At items first name. You're quite used to at first name, at last name. At shoot unique is the same as putting in at ID, at items ID. It's whatever your unique field is, and that usually is your ID. At items shoot keys, list the shoot keys used in the order. At items home folder lists the home folder for the subject or subjects in the order, but only once per subject, not once per thing that they've ordered. So it's really useful. So let me save this and let's print the same order again. Yep. And it will be is that one? Nope. Which one will it be, Mark? 2, 3. Yeah, you see the difference now. You see where we had at items shoot name, it's given us the shoot name once per person in the order. So Alison Bateman and her brother Jared. At first name gave us Alison and Jared. At last name, well, they've got the same last name, so it puts it in once, just Bateman. That's their two IDs. There's their two shoot keys, and they're both in the same grade at school, so they're both in 9C. So there's the difference. It puts things in once per subject, not once per package that the subject has ordered. It's as simple as that, really. And if you're just familiar with at codes in Neopack, it is the same concept. You just prefix your code with at items, and no need for curly bracket. Now, if you want to read up more on this, I did revamp the whole document. There's a new document on this. Google's your friend, Einstein software, order headers. Just put that into Google, and it should find it, I hope. There you go. That's actually not the one. It found the one I didn't want. I want the new one. Here, if you go to this document in our knowledge base, you'll see how you get order level data onto the order headers. This is all old stuff. This is not new. How to get the delivery option on there. The package level data is what I was talking about, where at item key, at item name, that lists things once per package, and then subject level data, which is the new stuff. And that is really simple. It's just at items and then whatever the field name is. Whatever field name you got in your job, basically, at items field name, no need for the repeating brackets. Just pop that anywhere on your order header and away you go. Easy as that. Simple. Some people are already using it because I said it did come out, I think, a couple of versions ago for Fulfill. But if you haven't got it, you can certainly get it now, as well as the other apps are all also on the same compatible version. Okay, that's it for that bit, order headers in fulfill. I can quit fulfill. I assume there's no questions on that, so I will keep going.
Actually,
Yes.
one customer asks, it would be very convenient for them to be able to print an order header and not the order, or an order header with a partial order. They point out the only way you can get an order header is if you print the whole order.
Correct. Correct on both.
They're going back and printing.
Correct on both ends, but nothing's changed in that respect.
How about for the future?
Probably not, no. Okay, let me keep going. One of the things we have needed to address, we were getting every now and again, not often, but often enough for it to be annoying, from a couple of customers would have this scenario. I'm going to call them bad carts. I'll put them together in here. Their customers, the online user, when they'd go to check out, would see something like this. The cart, you see a cart total is not correct. There's no way that cart total is $432.60. It should be $142.60. That's one example where if the customer had have kept going, luckily they didn't, they would have been way overcharged. And I probably saw about half a dozen of these from various people. Never saw it the other way around. Never saw situations where the customer was being undercharged. But in theory and in practice, it was just as likely. It's just that they wouldn't let you know until one very honest end user, one very honest mother, contacted the photographer. This particular example here, you can see if you add up her cart, she should have been paying $450, or it wasn't actually dollars, but that's not the point. Except the cart was coming up to $267. She was very honest. She could have checked out and that order would have gone through, and possibly the photographer never picked it up and printed it. She would have got a lot more stuff than she'd paid for. She was honest enough to tell the photographer. Okay, so we investigated. The reason this was happening was because people using multiple tabs. They would open up multiple tabs in their browser, or perhaps they were clicking the link from the photographer that was sending them to the site. And what would happen was the two tabs were out of sync, and they'd sort of do stuff on one tab, check out on the other. Now, we sort of fixed it, so I can't show you the problem. I can sort of just talk about it as I enter in a couple of keys. I'm going to put in a particular key. NG, no, that's an NC. So I can't read my own writing. That's the one, NC, that'll do. So people could do something like this. Right, they may do something here. They may look at this image and add to cart, have a good look, then maybe click the link they'd got from the photographer again, which would open up another tab with the same key. So in here that they'd keep going and they'd say, do that and do that. So here we've got three things in the cart in this tab. You see 3 items in the cart. You'd go to the cart there. But in the first tab, the same session, she's got one thing in the cart. And we don't necessarily know which tab they're going to continue the order with and which tab they'd ultimately check out in. And you could see there would be a mismatch. And what we've done now, and it could be even worse, it was probably even worse and happened more often when parents had two keys, one for their boy and one for the girl, for example, and they'd have one tab for each, and they'd order for each in each tab, but then check out on one, obviously. That was even more common. And sometimes what could happen was, because the two things were out of sync, when you ended up printing it, you'd get 2 prints of the girl and none of the boy, or 2 prints of the boy and none of the girl. It's because of this multi-tab things. What Peter has done, and a lot of this was out of our control. It's the way Windows and the browsers don't start a new session when you go to a new tab. What Peter has done very, very cleverly is essentially the cart now gets written back to the server and saved there, and it can be re-accessed, which means it could be refreshed. So watch. This tab has got the 3 items in it, in the cart. This one has only got 1. But when I go to the cart in this one, there you go. See it updated. The carts now sync, and this cart and that cart are identical as I go between tab and tab. If I remove something from here, again, people's carts were the wrong amount because they may remove things from one tab and check out, but the other tab still had everything, or vice versa. I think you get where I'm going through with this. When we go here, okay, this has still got the original 3 items. What's going to happen here? If they do go to check out, okay, it says checking out with 2 items in your cart. It's refreshed. It's refreshed. So before they check out and pay, it's refreshed. The 2 carts are in sync. And if we actually view the cart in this tab, we've got now the correct cart. The 2 carts, or 3 carts, however many tabs they've got open, will always actually now be in sync. Excellent, excellent. And as we're going to see later in today's webinar, this thing of sort of saving the cart back to the server has opened up a whole world of possibilities for us in other respects. So we feel we've got rid of that problem. The problem there, people would get carts with the wrong amounts, basically, or sometimes the wrong data or the wrong images, depending on what they've done. Again, there's nothing you have to do about this. We've fixed this. Most people are already on the version that fixes this. This is not brand new. We fixed this for what we're calling version 3.1, and I think everybody's on this version now, I think. So this just got subtly fixed behind the scenes for you, but I just needed to point that out to you. We found out what was causing the problem. We have subsequently fixed it. Okay, I think that's pretty straightforward. Can we move on, or any questions, Mark? Nope. Okay. I will continue. Mark, you still there?
Yes, but I keep myself muted in between
Sorry,
times.
I just want to make sure I wasn't talking to myself and the whole thing had come tumbling down. All right.
Nope, it's all working.
Okay, so I am going to move on to something that is much more recent. Going to go back into here. I'm going to enter a couple of more different keys. If you're wondering why I'm sort of just putting in random email addresses there, you'll see later on is because the system can now email people who go in and don't order. And I don't want to get those emails just for this demonstration purposes. So I'm putting in a fake address, which is my dog's email address. Okay, so I'm going to put in a different key, UM9. That one will do. That's it. This goes along the lines of just making it obvious to people how generous you are. When you have any sort of logic that changes the price of the package, could be conditions, or you're doing extras, shop extras, card extras, what it now does is display the original price, crosses it out, and gives you the new price. Simple as that. This job had a condition for, I don't even remember what it was, but for whatever reason, this customer has satisfied that condition. The different price list has kicked in. So we're seeing the original price list and the new discounted prices right there next to it. So it's very obvious to them that they are getting a discount. And that is, in fact, live. What do I mean by live? I'll go to a different key. Don't get too excited about what you're seeing there with that button. That'll get explained in a second. L5. Is it? Okay. Prices here are normal. You see they're still normal? Have a read of that snippet. Hello, Cooper. Thanks for visiting. Order a premium or deluxe package, and subsequent packages are at half price. We actually did this as an example in one of the earliest webinars in July, I think. how to set up this particular sort of offer, this particular genre of discount. So let's order a deluxe, for example. As soon as we do that, the condition kicks in and the new price list kicks in, and you can see the subsequent packages are reduced, but it's still showing the original price. Very obvious then to them that they are getting discounts, and they'll love you for it, hopefully. Now, this is, like many of the things I'm going to show today, an option. When we upgrade you to this version, you need to tell us, yes, we would like to show the full price next to the discounted price, and Mark or I will set that as a site setting at your site. I suspect most people will just want it on, but you will need to tell us, yep, please can I have the show discounted prices, new functionality thingy, and we'll turn that option on. But in case you don't want that, we just won't have that option on for you, but it's there. You don't have to do anything else apart from tell us that you want it. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. I assume there's no questions on that, or are there?
No questions, but people like it.
People like it? Yeah, it's a simple one, and I think it has a lot of merit. There's a lot of merit. Now, something new we have done with respect to iPhone, and for this, I'm going to get a little bit fancy-nancy, and I'm going to share my iPhone on the screen so that you can see what's happening. So bear with me while I mirror my phone to my screen. Hopefully this will work. If not, I'll just talk about it. Okay, cool. That's the on-screen code. And what do I need to do? Come on, I did this yesterday and it all worked. Yes, here it is, 3192. Cool, there's Dino's iPhone there. There you go. So you're now looking at my phone. That is my phone, and I am going to go to my browser, go to our site. As I'm doing that, I'll explain. We had a couple of customers, one in particular, saying that they get a lot of people ordering on the iPhone. And with the iPhone, you know, or any of the small devices, you know that the image film strip is not displayed by default. It's not displayed. People need to go in and see their, click the button to show images. And that they'd missed that. They didn't realize that there were more poses to actually order from. So we changed that. We did two new things to the iPhone. Let me put in a key and just watch what happens as I put in the key. I'm just going to use a key that you've seen before. I'm tapping open right now. Okay. You see, at first this hint comes up right up in the middle of the screen. Click Show Images to show and select for more. And with the dismiss button, they have to dismiss it. So you know they've read it. Hopefully they've read it. And then when they do tap it, watch what happens when they tap it. It shows them what to do. Sort of just a little animation, and up and back they go. So that's just a little thing. Hopefully they can't miss the fact that they've got more images they can scroll through at the top to order from. Similarly, when you do go to your images, for example, and go into the grid, what am I doing? Yep, okay. We've introduced just swiping with your finger. And honestly, when people look at photos on a phone, they're just used to flicking with their finger rather than using arrow keys, which is how it used to be in the past. Now, I'm not going to turn on my webcam to show you what I'm doing, but I'm essentially just getting my index finger right now and just wiping it across my phone, and it advances back and forth. So it's just everybody's very familiar with that way of scrolling for images. No need to use the arrows down the bottom. Okay. It's an intuitive thing. You don't really need instructions for it. They don't need instructions for it. This bit is not an option. The swiping is not an option. That'll just be there for everybody on touch devices. The hint that we talked about, the hint that came up first, again, that's an option. If you don't want that option on your phones, we won't put it there. You will tell us, yeah, can I have that hint, show images, thingamajiggy, and we will turn that on, and it will be on your smaller devices. But the swiping of the images with your finger, that's rather cool. It works really nicely, and that's there for everybody straight away with this version. Okay, we are roaring through. Any other questions?
Somebody wants to know why it's only iPhone and not Android too.
No, I'm just using iPhone because I'm holding an iPhone. It's got nothing to do with the fact the phone. It's the screen size.
So it's mobile.
Yeah,
it's going to work on all mobile. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, by all means, if you've got a different device, right now, just go to webinar.timestone.com.au, enter 8 sets of 8s as the shoot key, and have a play yourself if you want to. So
okay. Yeah, so it's just a small device and you're just demonstrating it on an iPhone.
Yes, that's what I've got. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right. I will quit all that. So we're moving now into the main thrust of today's webinar, and honestly, it takes a bit of explaining, but like zero training on your end for the rest of it. But you'll probably have lots of questions. I'm going to go back to our site here. I'm going to remove that. And shopping. I'm going to put in a different key. Okay. We're going to go for a little wander through the site. And I'm just going to copy that key because I'm going to use it. So when people hit the site and they put in a key, they get to this page first. This page we call the shop. So we've put in a key, we land at the shop. I'm going to just duplicate this tab. Which I've sort of never done before. I've never duplicated one of our tabs. Okay, so let's assume someone's come in, they've looked at their images, and in fact they add things to the cart. So this could be like the second base in your journey through the website. You've reached the cart. So think of that. We've got the shop. Now someone has added things to the cart. Let's do one more. So I just want to have those three things up the screen at once. Do one more. Let's add some things to the cart. View the cart. Go to check out. And now, very important button, place order and proceed to payment. Remember these buttons, everything, all the fixed text on your site is translatable. We can translate it to what you want. I've changed my button, which by default says place order. I've changed it to place order and proceed to payment. So they know that they still have to pay. When they click that button, click the button. Wait. Oh, what's happened here? I don't know what that was. Maybe because I double clicked it. I was impatient. I don't know. But they've clicked that button. They've placed the order. The order is placed. There is now an order key generated, and the order is in the database. So let's call this third base. They've placed the order, but they haven't paid. We can go through and pay for it now. We can go through, pay for it now, and we would get an email. You know that. That's iOS 101. You get a receipt email. While we're talking about receipt emails, I might just show you one. because I want to talk about, take the body off. Come on. Yep. Yeah. This is my new mission. You know, traditionally my mission to Civilize has been to get people to organise their templates and make them look nicer and have good template paths. My new mission in life is to get people's emails looking nicer. Remember, these emails that you send out are customizable. They are a HTML file. If you've got someone in your organisation who knows HTML, we will get you that template, that file, and you go for it and make them look prettier. Or if there's specific stuff you want and you don't know HTML, Mark and I can do it for you. I've done a little bit with our one just to brand it to us and color scheme it to us, just to make it look a whole lot nicer. Okay, that offer is there for you guys as well. We can make that order receipt email look nicer. You can do it, or we can do it for you if it's important to you. If not, sure, keep the default one. That's okay, but be aware that you can make them look nicer. So my point is, this is your first contact with them after they've ordered. After they've ordered and paid, they will get one of these confirmation emails. Okay, but let's say you do what this person does, gets to this point and does not pay. This person has not paid, and maybe they'll quit. Maybe they have second thoughts and close their browser. Maybe they try to pay and they haven't got the money and decide not to pay. For whatever reason, they don't pay. So they've got to third base, what I'm going to call that. So we've got a third base, a second base, where they've put things in the cart, and the tire kickers, the people who've come to your site, just looked at the images, but didn't put anything in the cart. We now have the ability to automatically send emails to these people, and it's totally granular. It's up to you whether we do it at all or not, whether you'd like an email to go to any of these three types of people, or all of these three types of people: the tire kickers, the people who added things to the cart, the people who actually placed an order but didn't pay, or any one of them. Maybe you only want to send an email to the people who placed an order, didn't pay, or maybe to the ones who added to the cart but abandoned it. And forget about the tire kickers. You don't want to contact them. We can contact all three of those people types, or none of them, or any one of them. Okay. Let's start with these people. The people who placed an order, did not pay for it. We briefly spoke about this during the last webinar, because already now in 3.1, you can generate this sort of email. I'm going to find the email in question, 70, this one. Okay. Have a read of that. This email has been sent to this customer. Because they checked out, they actually put in their name, maybe even their delivery address, they hit placed order, they just haven't paid. That's the only step that's missing. Thanks for visiting our site. We noticed you placed an order but not complete payment. Remember, this is all customizable. This is just me coming up with these words. You can come up with your own. To pay for your order now, simply click here, and just to keep, we'll keep going. Click here, and when they do, it takes them to the payment page, and they can pay. Easy as that. They can't modify the order. They've hit place order, that's set in stone. They can't modify it, they can't go back and change it. Can't do anything like that, but they can pay for it if they want to. I'll kill that particular tab. You can also have a link in there to cancel the order. Okay. So this particular link, it's a different link, invokes the cancel button, and they can click that and they'll cancel the order. And they won't get any further reminders. Why am I talking about further reminders? Because you can decide how often you actually email these people, if you want to email them, and when. Let me just start a little text document. Okay. You could, for example, say you're going to contact them 7 days after they place the order, or 2 days, up to you. But you may also equally want to do it something like that. Okay. In this example, you're going to email them with that reminder email 2 days after they place the order, 7 days after they place the order, and 14 days after they place the order. For me, that's overkill, but you are welcome to do that. If they hit cancel order, let's say they get the first email 2 days later, follow the link, cancel the order, they're not going to get the subsequent reminders. Okay. You can also put in things something like this. What that means is, let's say you've got the job with an expiry date. Let's say you've set an expiry date for the job. The -3 is saying, send them a reminder 3 days before the job expires. Send them a reminder 1 day before the job expires. Now, I've written these things in this notepad just as a visual aid. These are not numbers you need to enter anywhere. You just tell us what you want, and we put that in your setup. We put that in your setup. So this is the follow-up email that is sent to people who have placed an order but not paid. And we can, in fact, even for this one here, I don't know if Peter's around, but he could do his magic Peter the Time Lord rather than have to wait. Oh no, that won't work, Peter, because I've put it in your email address as Perry Puppy. So don't try and send this email, otherwise my dog will get it. Yeah, but just to give you an example, that is how the email works. It actually tells them about their order, see the payment status is pending, and what was in their cart when they placed the order but did not pay. Now, there is another way of sending that. You saw that back in July. I think it was July, August, whenever it was. If you go to not your control panel, but the service panel, going to orders, I'll look up that very same order because I know that's obviously one that was never paid. So there it is. See, payment is pending. Up in your actions, you can also send that payment email. I click that, off it's gone. So you can trigger this manually if you want to. That's what we had last time. Now we've also got the ability for your site to automatically send one or more of these reminder emails to that genre of person. Okay. That's that first email. We're going to move to the other two. Any questions on that before I move on this particular type of email? The one that goes to not just abandoned carts, but abandoned orders, in fact.
Not so far.
Not so far? Okay. Cool bananas. Let's kill that. Might as well kill that. Kill that. Come back to this one. We're in the cart here. You may have noticed a couple of things that are different. While we're here. There is a share cart. What's that? Well, I'm going to kill these and put in a different key so we can actually do this share cart, because I want to put in my actual proper email address so we get it. Didn't mean to close the whole thing. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to close the browser down. 7Q, let's try this key. And I'll use my address. Yeah, that'll do. Yep. And okay, Daniela here is going to order some stuff. Let's do that. We'll do that. We'll do a couple of 5/7s there. And I don't know, basketball one, 5/7s. View cart. Let's go to the cart. So she's reached second base. She's added things to the cart. All right. Daniela, I don't know how old she is, but she probably can't afford the $80. So she's share cart. She can now share this cart, send this cart to somebody else. Pop in an email address of who it's going to, your name, whoever the person is, Danny D. Email address. She'd put in her email address there and her message. I have pre-typed one in just to save a bit of time. Okay. Hey, Dad, here are the photos that I picked for Nana. She's actually ordering on behalf of her grandmother. Would you be able to pretty please finish the order and pay for them? Love you always, Danny. The dog messes you, but Mum doesn't. And can I have some money? This is probably a very poor attempt at me trying to be a little young teenage girl. But you can tell it's not because there's no spelling and grammatical errors in that, apart from the love, I guess. So we hit send. And in a moment, her dad should get an email. So I've deliberately I'll shut the browser down in a second because I want to mimic the real thing of someone just clicking that link for the first time. Again, this share cart button is optional. You may not want it. You may not want it. Okay. If you want it, let us know. We will put in the appropriate setting and your site setup, and then the share cart button will present itself. There's that email coming. There you go. So I'm going to actually, just to keep everything honest here, I'm going to shut down the browser completely so I'm not tricking anything. There's the email that her dad has received. Okay, you can see what's happened. And underneath it, to retrieve the cart and place an order, that's system text. To retrieve the cart and place an order, please click here. That, again, is translatable. If you don't like that wording, we will change it to something else. And, of course, it can be translated to different actual languages, Spanish, French, etc. Or we can translate it into English, but a different phrase if you don't like that one. So her dad gets this. Clicks there. Takes him straight back to the cart. He can now check out and pay. In fact, he may think, oh, some of these aren't appropriate for Nana. You're showing too much leg in the first photo for a start. So he may want to continue shopping. And when he hits continue shopping, it takes you back here. Who's he continuing shopping for? Oh, Daniela. Maybe that cart had more than one person in it, in which case he could choose between who it was for. Okay, but he clicks there and it takes him back to the images, and he can start the process all over again, or go back to the cart and check out just the way his daughter has ordered, or he can now modify that order. This now becomes his cart. You see, Danny could have checked out herself. She could have shared the cart, continued checking out, and placed the order, shared what she did with Dad. Dad could have done more, changed it, whatever. They are separate carts, separate orders in that respect. So they're totally independent. It's brilliant. And so her dad now, with that link, gets back in, sees what she had done, but can continue with it or change it or start again if need be. Remember that share cart button is optional. We'll turn it on if you want. There's more. We'll talk about this in context as I keep going, unless there's any pressing questions on this right now, Mark.
No.
No? Okay. Okay. So now let's say, for argument's sake, when we went back to let's go back to the other end of the spectrum. Remember we said we had the tire kickers. Let's go back to our tire kicker. And I'll get my key. Tire kicker 1 could be this one. Doesn't really matter what key, really. Yep, so I've still got things in the cart. I'm going to remove them. Different job. I'm going back to a tire kicker. Okay. What am I calling a tire kicker? Is someone who hits your site, comes in here, looks at the images, scroll, maybe goes in here, clicks around, just wants to see them big, tries to copy them for Facebook perhaps, but doesn't even add anything to the cart. This is as far as they've gone in the site. You can, if you want to, send people an email. I've got one already set up, and it is, I saved it in here. Okay, it will look something like this, but again, you can customize it. Hi there, thanks for visiting our site on whatever date. It will know what date they visited to see your photos. We noticed you didn't do anything. You didn't place an order, didn't do anything. You can return to the site and continue shopping by clicking the button below. They just click that link. Okay, again, totally customizable, this email. They will get this whenever you want them to get it. Do you want them to get it 24 hours later? Okay, plus another 7, plus another 14. Personally, I would just do that. Just send one of these sort of things, not lots. Otherwise, you'll piss them off. So the recipient would get this email 24 hours later. They click the link. Okay. And this is who that person was shopping for. They were shopping for Jennifer Burston, and that was Jennifer's key. And they just click that and get straight back into the shop. Hopefully they do it properly this time, go through and place an order. So that's the email, the first type of email we'll send to the tire kickers, the ones who visit your site, look at the images, but don't add to cart. Nothing gets added to the cart. I've got another example. Kill that. This one's a little bit different. Same sort of email, okay? Whoever logged in, put in the shoot key or keys to begin with, has got this email 24 hours later, perhaps, clicks the link. Okay. This one's a bit more interesting. This parent had actually logged in with 2 different keys for her 2 sons, Silas and Weston. So now, when she returns, it's asking you, well, who do you want to shop for? Do you want to see Weston's images? Okay. And she can go through an order. When she hits continue shopping, she can choose Silas's images and go through and place an order. She can toggle. Every time she hits continue shopping, it takes her back here. So the astute amongst you, or she could put in a new key. Maybe she's got a different key. Maybe she didn't even get as far as ordering for her daughter, and she could put in her daughter's key now. We'll show you that in a second. This astute amongst you have probably noticed the disappearance of the button that no one knew what it was for, that confused the hell out of everybody, the button that said order for another. That's gone. Kaput. Bye-byes. The continue button, and remember that's customizable. It can just say continue if you want, continue shopping. If you want to change that tag for that button, by all means. The continue shopping works like the order for another, but smarter and in context. So doing that, it asks you who you want to continue shopping for. So people who have lots of keys can very easily toggle between the different subjects or the different entities if it's an identify order without having to enter the new key each time. Really, really cool. We're calling that switching. So they can switch from one subject to another. Really, really seamlessly. And as we said, that confusing order for another is gone. And I think that makes sense. As a parent, if you hit a site, any ordering site, and you want to keep going, it makes sense. I need to keep going. Which button do I need to press? Oh, continue. Continue makes sense. Continue makes sense because you want to continue doing something. So you hit the continue button, and the continue button will do whatever is appropriate for that particular job. Let's keep going. I've got more examples. So let's say he had added things to the cart. Oh, I don't know what I've done there. I'm not sure. Mental note to look at that. I don't know, I did something to break things, but okay, we've got things in the cart now. Let's say let's say we've got another person, a different tie kicker, who added things to the cart. Remember, that's base 2. Added things to the cart, but don't go any further. Don't actually place the order. Again, I'll quit the browser. And what's a good example first? This one. Different sort of email. This is a different sort of email. This one and the other one don't necessarily have to go out. Both of them don't necessarily have to go out. You may prefer to send an email like this only to the people who have abandoned their cart. Again, thanks for visiting the site, blah, blah, blah. To retrieve the cart and continue with the order, please click here. And voila. There you go. That's what Jocelyn had put into her cart whenever it was a day earlier, and then she abandoned it. She is quite free to continue shopping, putting in another key if she's got one, or continue shopping for herself, and she can change what she's done, remove the old thing from the cart, add new things, etc., etc. Yeah, she's now potentially put in a lot more, and so that therefore you've got the ability to modify the order, so to speak, modify the cart, the original cart, by just clicking in, going back and forth that way. More examples. This one's a good example. Same sort of email. Click here. Okay. This was actually someone ordering for their 2 kids, sister and brother, plus a family, but then abandoned. When they continue shopping, how cool is that? The switching, no need to know the other keys. She can continue ordering just for Alison, or for Alison, for Jared, or the family. Okay, no need to have to re-enter the keys again. A couple more examples, because each one tells us something a little bit different. Let's see, which one is it? This one. Okay, this person had ordered for 3 different people in the one job. They've all got the premium package. Same deal. They can check out from here on. They can continue shopping and enter another key. Perhaps there's another person they wanted to order for. They didn't finish it the first time. So now we've got Maxine as well, and we can order for her. or if we're not sure and want to go back and have a look, now look what happens. When I go continue shopping now, it's added her. So now you can toggle between any of those 4 people. You can see the world is beginning to open up like an oyster here, in terms of like ordering extras for people. There's going to be a whole lot of benefits we'll talk about in like the next webinar just on this customer switching. But for today's webinar, we're talking about marketing to these people, marketing to the people who hit your site but don't complete their order. But it's at the same time an introduction to this customer switching, which is really, really sweet. So now that's the cart there that it needs to draw. You've got Maxine and the original 3 she can check out. And what's quite interesting is, you see, that link belongs to the person who logged in. Now, this is an important thing for you to understand, though. So let's say you've clicked that link and did exactly what I did. The customer has gone back to the site and added and done something to the cart, changed it, added more people to it, whatever. That's their personal cart. That's their cart. If they click this link now again, you see it's retrieved the modified cart. It's retrieved the modified cart, not the original one, because it's been modified. You've modified it. It's saved those changes. You can now keep going. Fantastic implications here. Somebody could begin ordering at work, puts in their email address, Dino at Timestone, tap, 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 does some stuff, doesn't finish it. They forget all about it. Next day, they get the reminder. They get the reminder, it takes them, and they're at home. They click on the link, it takes them straight back to that cart that they started at work. Or he could have got home, entered his email address in the front window, entered in one of those keys, and this cart would have been there. It's his cart. It's for that email address that he logged in with and that job, those keys. So this cart travels with the customer as they log in from place to place. Really, really cool. Really, really cool. So this is possibly the last type of example I was going to show you. Marketing to the people who abandon their carts. Essentially, they will get this type of email if you want them to. That link goes back to their cart. If they modify that cart, that modification is saved. The next time they may click that link. I hope that made sense. Any questions on that? As you can see, there's actually not a lot for you to learn here in terms of training. There's not much hands-on. You tell us whether you want it or not, and tell us how frequently you want the different reminders for each of those 3 different types of emails sent, and the system just does the rest for you. Any questions on that?
Nope, not so far.
Yeah. So in that case, we're doing well with timing, because I thought it would take about an hour, and we're pretty much there. I hope I haven't missed out anything, but this whole thing of switching opens up doors. Okay, we've talked about the cart reminders today, and we've got the 3 levels of reminders that we can do of customers who hit your site but don't order. In the subsequent webinar, we were going to dive into that switching. So this switching happens automatically. This switching happened the first time this person, who whatever email address it was, postmaster at Timestone, put in keys for Scott, Jody, and Regine, and you see it made those switch buttons as they were going. Then they came back and they added another key for Maxine, and then added her to their collection of switches. What we're going to show you next time is how to pre-make these buttons, like back in Neopack, to define things, so that people only need to hit your site with one key, and they will see whatever you want them to see, whatever combination of subjects, whatever combination of entities. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's refresh. You've seen this one, but I'll talk about it a bit more. NQD. Imagine coming to your site with that key. you're a mum. You've got kids, 2 kids at the school. I'll put in a fake address because I don't want to get the reminder email myself. What country haven't I used? New Zealand. Okay. You've got 2 kids at the school. You've got a key for each kid. You may have 4 kids at the school. You've got a key for each. You've got a key for the family photos. It's all a bit of an effort for them, and they end up opening multiple tabs and they don't know what to do. They get confused and frustrated. With the switching, all they have to do is hit enter one key. Oh, actually, beg your pardon. Yes. Remove. Actually, I will. I may not have finished setting this up because I got very distracted last night and this morning. But anyway, hopefully I did. Yeah, enter the one key and bang, you've got all 3 entities. I don't know if that key, I don't even remember if that key was the family key, Alison's key, or Jared's key. It didn't matter. The system was smart enough to know those 3 entities, those 2 subjects and that family are combined in a way. In this case, they're combined in the family. Make the site so any of those keys work, and it presents the images and it allows to order for any of those 3 entities without having to know the 2 other keys. Really, really cool. We can try another one. You remove the cart here. Let me try another one. Again, I don't now remember if I've set this one up, but we'll give it a try. I emptied the cart, didn't finish. No, I may not be able to show that last one, but I'll try one more time, a different key. Oh, sorry, I keep bringing back my old cart. KPT. There you go. That's what I want to show you. I just entered one key for an event. I don't even know what type of key that was, but it's brought me up all the different folders in that job. And again, I'm not sure if I finished setting this up, but the idea is you then click, oh yeah, okay, and they're all the kids that were photographed on the Thursday morning session. Here are the Sunday morning session. One key got them in to the job, and then we set things up at Neopack to say, okay, with that key, show me the images for this, 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 and this. And that this, this, and this, and this could be 4 or 5 different subjects, 4 or 5 different folders, whatever. You'll be the master of what collective you want to define. But that's for the next webinar, not for this one. For this one, the main thrust of what we're talking about was the money left on the table, to quote something that one of our customers told me at our last training seminar in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, that they wanted a system to be able to start getting the money that's left on the table. And this is a step in that direction. Thanks to the person who gave me that little snippet of quote there. So we had a bit to go through, but as you can see, there's actually not a lot at your end. It was more like a show rather than a teach. So we show you what the stuff is. You tell us if you want it. We turn it on. There's not much for you to learn here. In summary, we talked about the order headers. I think you're okay with that. Multiple tabs, that's just a fix. That's already in place. Displaying the discount pricing. Sounds like most people actually do want to use that. So we'll have that as an option to turn on for you. New stuff in the small devices like iPhones, etc. And then we talked about auto sending emails to people who hit your site but don't pay, basically. That's it in a nutshell. And there's not much for you guys to do. That is a really beautiful thing from your end. This is pretty much available now. So whoever wants it just needs to let us know, and we need to update your site, and you need to tell us which options you want. You may want to work on the emails to make them look nicer, those reminder emails. People are going to be sending more emails within reason. We are not be charging people to send these reminder emails unless you decide to send one every day for 365 days of the year. And that gets a bit extreme, but we're not charging any extra. That said, I do warn you that probably at some point next year, the iOS price will go up. One thing that COVID has done is has forced everybody to go 100% online. The sites are all smoke coming out from under the hood because they're so busy. So we need to upgrade infrastructure and stuff like that. So iOS prices will change and go up in a certain fashion next year, but we won't be charging extra for these emails per se. More about that later when the time comes. Any questions? Peter, if I totally ignored you. If I've missed anything, Peter, jump in. But yeah, go ahead with the questions.
There are lots of questions. First off, I think we need to make sure that everybody's clear that the last thing you showed where it would automatically, you put one key in and it shows you all the connected keys, that's not a feature that is available right now. That's coming.
No, only in the sense that. Yeah, only in the sense, Mark, that if you put 3 keys in against your email address, quit.
Exactly.
Come back in and put in 1 key with that email address. And that reminds me, I do need to.
But you have to put in as of right now, you have to put in 3 or 4 or 5 keys to see 3 or 4 or 5 keys when you come back.
You'll see 3 or 4 or 5.
There's no automatic things on. What happens if I?
Sorry, Mark. Hang on to that because I did neglect to talk about something. All this this to happen, we need to turn on right at the beginning something that's always been there, which is the email field on the login screen. A lot of people don't have that. We'd have to turn that on because that's the email address that gets marketed to. So if you don't have that feature on, we need to turn that on. That's been there for 10, 15 more years, this capturing the email at login. And you can get a report. I didn't talk about the report. This is not new, what I'm showing you right now, but it's worth definitely reminding people of. Customer logins, I think is the name. That'll do. You see, again, Google and our knowledge base is your friend. You've always been able to generate this report of your customer logins, which will give you a list of people who have visited your site and a whole lot of other information. That's always been there. Someone said, it'd be great. What you're bringing in now is great. It'd be great if we can get a report. The report's always been there. You can get that report right now. But we need to turn on that email field for you if you haven't already got it. And then you can also get a report. And people were using this report to do exactly what we're doing, but they were doing it externally. They were using this report to get the email addresses of people who hit the site but didn't order, and then they were using MailChimp or some other external mail merge system to mail them, inviting them to come back to the site. We weren't doing that. We were doing that only through this report. Now we can do what people like NetLife have always done, is to do it automatically through the site. The report then becomes somewhat redundant, but it's still there. Okay, so that's a very important thing that I neglected to say is, of course, we need to turn on this field to catch their email address. And obviously, if they put in a fake address or an incorrect address, they're not going to get that email, but there's nothing we can do about that. We do check for correct format. If they put a bizarre format email address, it won't let them go forward, but there's nothing to stop people, as I did, put in, Atticus at Finch, Atticus at Boxer Puppy, and continuing. Okay, sorry, Mark. Keep going for questions.
All right. And I'm going to unmute Peter here in a second, but can I take down a job if the cart has been abandoned?
Can I take down a job if the cart has been abandoned? Yes. Yeah.
What happens?
When they click that link, I believe nothing will happen. I haven't tried to see what actually physically happens, but obviously the job needs to be there for it to be able to render and draw stuff.
So those would just be, well, we'll get an answer from Peter here in a second, most likely.
Yep.
Are the emails that you showed available for pre-orders too, if somebody tire kicks or checks out or
yeah, and in fact, one example I did not show was this one. This was a pre-order. In fact, it was Identify. Okay, this is actually Identify, so which is a pre-order. And when you continue shopping, you see there the members of the family, and they can continue. They can hit another. So they can put in another key, which is like a totally different job key for pre-ordering or ordering, or they can click another, which is saying, well, I need to order for another kid in my family, or another entity in this for this job. So the Identify one is a little bit different because you've got the another button, which just means add another. It's like the order for another in the old Identify. It's here where you order for the next person. Whoever the daughter was.
Okay. What happens if the customer recovers the cart?
That's what I mean. When you come in here and you order for, Betty, etc. Okay.
Next question. What happens if the customer recovers the cart, but the offer has been changed in the meantime?
Yeah, that's a bit tricky. Peter's best to answer that. You've got to. I guess it can't present you with stuff that it can't draw, depending on what you've changed in the offer. It needs to be able to retrieve that stuff ultimately.
Okay,
Peter will.
I'm gonna unmute him in a moment. I just want to make sure that to make the comment, people are thinking that we can order from different jobs in the same cart now, and that is still not true. Correct?
No, that will never be the case. There's too many things hanging off jobs. Think about all the different offers, different conditions. There's too many variables that belong to a particular job. Now you've got two jobs. What's it supposed to do? I mean, when it sees a cart and it's got two things in there from two different jobs, and you've got conditions that apply for one but not the other, what's it supposed to do? No. Forget. Banish that thought, people. Please.
Okay. And there are some other questions that we may go over, or we can answer later. But I think there's too many right now to answer, but I'm going to unmute Peter and let him.
Just one thing, the question was about taking down the jobs. We are looking at a system for next year when we revamp TSIOS, where you won't really take down the jobs as such. You sort of archive them, perhaps, is one a better word. So it switches them off, but they'd be still there and retrievable far a lot easier. Because when we go to a new pricing system, it's going to be less based on, say, the number of images on there. We won't care. More based on a usage theme. So it's less likely that you'll be taking down the jobs in the future, is what I'm getting at.
I've done my part, and Peter has to unmute himself now.
Okay.
It must be a double mute system.
Peter, in your control panel for the webinar.
Oh, hello, I'm muted.
Yes, you are. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
I don't know what I did.
May I be the first to say, absolutely stoked. This is brilliant what you've done here. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it. I hope you guys like it too. Hello, everybody. All right, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. Yes, if an offer's been changed and you retrieve a card, the first thing it does is actually run that card through the current offer. So if anything doesn't exist anymore, if the prices have changed or whatever, it will then redo everything. So you end up with quite a valid card. So that answers that question. No, we will definitely never have an order belonging to multiple jobs. It's not often that happens. How often do you really get like one person wanting to order from two jobs? I'm not sure that that happens that often, but yeah, it definitely requires it to be one order for one job, or
Yeah.
one job for a single order.
Yeah. That said, Peter, if I could interrupt, one thing on our development list is.
Of course, I know what you're going to say.
Can I?
That,
Yeah.
of course, go.
Yeah. Is something we're sort of calling legacy. So imagine you've got a
course.
kid that has been at the same school for 6 years and is in, therefore, 6 different jobs, that when he or she graduates in year grade 12, whatever it is, or year grade 6, whatever it is, there will be a product that retrieves each of their images from those 6 different jobs and show them in a nice panoramic of their journey through school life. We're calling that a legacy type product. So that is sort of, has to be between over jobs, but not in the sense that this question was asked about. So
Exactly, yeah.
Another reason for you, not necessarily, we don't want you to take down jobs anymore, because then you'd have to put them back up to make use of this legacy product when it comes out. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right. So the legacy will be a different beast again, but I foresee that it will still belong to one job. It might be like a legacy job which combines multiple jobs, you see.
Yes.
So it has to be a legacy jobs, and you say, well, it includes this job, such and such from McKinnon High School, job such and such from McKinnon High School. And there'll be automated ways of discovering these jobs, of course, but it'll be one like job to control multiple jobs, and then everything will be through that job, and it then distributes things to others, but it still will be like a legacy job in inverted commas.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so there's that. What else was there? The abandon. Now, something that Dino failed to mention, possibly might not know about it, is you can mark an order now as abandoned. So no, customer's not interested anymore. And by marking it as you can mark an order as voided, actually, which you can do now with the service module, but an order can also be marked as abandoned. Now, that can also be an option in your site settings when to consider an order abandoned. The customer is not interested anymore. The order is marked as abandoned, and what that means is you can then, in inverted commas, take down the job. And abandoned has become now an actual order status, and it will appear in reports. So again, you can set up your site 10 days after they've abandoned the card. You may or may not have emailed them to convince them to come back. The system will mark the order as abandoned, which means the job can be taken down without it complaining that there are outstanding orders. The thing that Dino has got on screen at the moment, the void order, is a little bit different. The moment you mark an order as void, you will get notification that the order is marked as void. It is voided. It's different to abandoned. An abandoned order, you can come back, whereas a voided order is voided. It's like various things happen, and you have to start again if you want to do anything with that order. So that's the difference between abandoned and voided or cancelled order.
One thing we haven't got yet is in those emails to have an unsubscribe link. So your policy may be to send lots of these, which again I don't recommend. But let's say after the first one, they could actually hit unsubscribe, and then they wouldn't get any subsequent communication from you of this genre. We don't have that yet, but we'll put it in. However, I do think, again, I strongly recommend you not to have too many of these. I think one reminder is probably enough, and then no need for us to unsubscribe because they wouldn't be getting another one.
Yeah, I still need to put the unsubscribe in, which is not very hard to do.
Yeah.
So I should do that before we release it, so people can have an unsubscribe link in these emails. It's very important. Now, Dino mentioned the customer logins report. For those of you that do use that, there's been a couple of minor changes in that. Do you have an example of that, Dino?
How recent? I downloaded one a couple of days ago.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So for those of you that use it, just be aware of a couple of things.
Okay.
All right, just pause there for a second. Okay, now have a look at column B. That's the shoot keys. I'm not sure what it did before, but I think it would only give you one shoot key. Now we'll give you any, so say taking line 26, hostmaster@timezone.com.au, logged in, there's some other details there, but they logged in with those three shoot keys, 5Z, NQ, and SR. Whereas before, I think it would only give you one. So now it's all the shoot keys for that customer. And if we pan across to the end, Dino,
Yep.
I've added some extra fields to this report. Now, just stop there.
Yep.
Have a look at line 11. Now, column S will tell you whether this customer ended up ordering or not. Now, I know you can glean that information from the information to the left of that, but there's also a column that explicitly states true or false whether that customer login resulted in an order, as well as columns T and U, who they ended up ordering for and who they did not. So line 11, this customer had entered those three shoot keys that you can see in columns T and U, but only ended up ordering for the columns for the shoot keys in column T and not for column U. Make of this, use of this if you so choose in your system. So they're the three columns that I've added: S, T, and U. So be aware of those new things. And I think that was it from me. Does anyone have any questions for me in particular?
I'm sorry, no. Everybody's saying thank you, and I apologize if I didn't get to some questions, but I think Dino and Peter did a good job of answering everybody.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
So we will probably have at least one, if not two, webinars sort of between now and end of January, so before SPAC. Obviously, we need to, when we have the switching finished, to be able to define your own switching. But also we have been chipping away to 4.9 beta, which we'll have out sometime. It'll still be on the boil, we'll still be adding things to it, but we want to release that so that the Aussies have got it before the start of next school year, because there's things in there that they've been asking for, things to do with the identify module, with families, filters in queue mode, useful for everybody, but we'd love for the Aussies to have that for the beginning of next school year, which is end of January. So we're going to have at least one, hopefully we're going to have at least one, possibly two webinars between now and then. So keep your eyes peeled to your email inbox. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And if you've got any questions, let us know. If you want to go to this version, obviously let us know. We're not just going to randomly, wholeheartedly update everybody. But if you do want to go to this version, you need to let us know, and you need to tell us what you want activated. Remember, there were many things I said are options. The share cart button, do you want that or not? Which of those three things do you want the emails to go to, or all of them, one of them, or none of them? Do you want the iPhone?
Perhaps, Dino, to interrupt you,
Yep.
well, we might form an email with all this, put it in there, send it to everyone, and they can reply, with what they want said, rather than let them have a good think about it. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Indeed. Okay.
All right.
All from us. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
See you
Thanks.
next time.
Mm-hmm.
And bye for now. I will find a way to quit. And